All right, let's dive into some Shakespeare. Macbeth, Act 2, Scene 2. King Duncan's just been murdered. And the aftermath is where things get really wild.
Yeah, Shakespeare really throws us right into the middle of everything.
So we open with Lady Macbeth all alone.
And right away, you can tell a lot about how she's feeling by what she says.
What's she saying?
That which hath made them drunk hath made me bold. What hath quenched them hath given me fire. Hark, peace. Right away, you notice a contrast. The alcohol for the guards made them drunk, made her bold. But then suddenly it's, wait, shh, quiet.
Like a wave of adrenaline and nerves.
Exactly. Tons of pressure. She's behind this whole regicide, and now she has to make sure it all works out perfectly. No room for any mistakes.
Then Macbeth walks in. His false line just oozes anxiety. I have done the deed. Didst thou not hear a noise? He's a wreck.
Oh, it's such a classic line. Tells us so much about what's going on in his head. Paranoia, jumpy, every little sound. He just killed the king, so of course his senses are going crazy. Every little creak could be the guards coming back.
Okay, hold on. Let's take a second to make sure everyone's following. Imagine you're back in class, about to talk about this scene. What jumps out at you?
It's amazing how different Macbeth and Lady Macbeth are reacting to the murder. She's trying to stay calm, in control, but he's practically losing it.
Yeah, and that just gets more obvious as they talk. Macbeth
Yeah.
says, this is a sorry sight. He's talking about the blood on his hands, right? But it feels like there's a deeper meaning.
Absolutely. Shakespeare's rarely just surface level. Sorry sight isn't just the blood, it's what he's done, the weight of it. That sorry sight is his guilt, a stain that won't wash away. Really powerful.
Foreshadowing a huge theme for the whole play. You can't escape the consequences of your actions.
Right. Now remember when Lady Macbeth planted the daggers back on the guards?
Wait, why did she do that?
To frame them, obviously. No CSI back then. By putting those bloody daggers back on the guards, she makes it look like they did it. Pretty clever.
Definitely. Shows how far she'll go to protect their ambition. Even messing with evidence. But it's also cold.
Calculate. Good point. Remember how we were talking about their different reactions? This is it. Macbeth's agonizing over the sorry sight, and Lady Macbeth's thinking strategy, covering their tracks.
Shows that contrast between guilt and ambition that's at the heart of their whole relationship.
Exactly, and that tension just keeps building. Like when Macbeth starts hearing voices, sleep no more, Macbeth does murder sleep.
Okay, that's where it gets really interesting. What does it even mean to murder sleep? Sounds so metaphorical, so Shakespearean.
It totally is. This is Shakespeare at his best, using powerful imagery to show us a mental state. When he says he's murdered sleep, it's not just about a good night's rest. Sleep, in a lot of Shakespeare's plays, represents peace of mind, innocence, being able to restore yourself.
So he's saying by murdering sleep, he's destroyed his own peace of mind.
Exactly. What he's done is going to haunt him. He'll never be able to just rest easy again. He's crossed a line, no going back.
Whoa. And then Lady Macbeth, she basically tells him to snap out of it, almost annoyed with him.
It's like his freaking out is getting in the way of her plan. Remember, she's all about being practical, focused on the goal. These deeds must not be thought after these ways, so it will make us mad. Bury your feelings. Don't think about the guilt, because if you do, it'll destroy us.
Like, she thinks she could just shut off those feelings, but can you really just ignore the weight of murder, even if you're as tough as Lady Macbeth?
Good question. Is she really unfazed, or is it an act? Is she just better at hiding it than Macbeth? Something to think about as we keep going with the play.
Okay, I'm hooked. What happens next?
So Lady Macbeth tries to, pull Macbeth back from this guilt spiral. She says this really chilling line. The sleeping and the dead are but as pictures. 'Tis the eye of childhood that fears a painted devil.
Yeah, that line always gives me the chills. It's like she has this super detached view of life and death.
It's a really revealing line,
Yeah.
about how she sees the world. She's trying to downplay death, make it seem less real, less scary. By comparing the dead to pictures, she's trying to desensitize herself and Macbeth to what they've done.
Like adopting this ruthless, practical philosophy to deal with the enormity of their actions.
Yeah, exactly. She's trying to convince herself that fear is just a childish thing, that a painted devil can't actually hurt you. But think about what that means. If death is just a picture, does life have any real meaning for her?
Whoa. Makes you wonder what kind of world she's building for herself. A world where morality and consequence don't seem to matter.
And right then, something happens that changes everything. A knocking at the gate.
Simple sound, but it's so ominous. Why do you think that is?
It's brilliant. Shakespeare at his best. That knocking is the outside world intruding on their crime. It's a reminder that actions have consequences. They can't just shut everyone out and pretend nothing happened.
Like the walls are closing in, their facade is about to crumble.
Exactly. And notice how they react to the knocking. Macbeth's terrified, guilt and paranoia going through the roof with this sudden interruption. He even says, "Wake Duncan with your knocking, I wish you could."
Like he wishes he could take it back, but he knows he can't.
Right. No turning back. And Lady Macbeth, trying to stay cool as a cucumber, telling him to wash his hands, put on a brave face.
But even she seems shaken, even if she doesn't show it.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's subtle but important. Even Lady Macbeth, with all her icy composure, can't completely ignore that their world's about to be flipped upside down.
And that brings us to one of the most famous moments in the play, Macbeth's obsession with washing his hands.
Oh yeah, the hand-washing scene. Will all great Neptune's ocean wash this blood clean from my hand? No, this my hand will rather the multitudinous seas incarnadine, making the green one red.
Such a vivid image. Speaks volumes about his guilt and despair. No amount of water, not even the ocean, can cleanse him.
It's the language, right? Shakespeare could have just had him say, "I feel guilty." But instead, he paints this incredible picture. The ocean turning red with blood, the stain on his soul.
He knows deep down he's crossed the line and there's no going back. He's marked by this forever.
Exactly. And then Lady Macbeth, ever practical. "A little water clears us of this deed. How easy is it then?"
Like they're speaking different languages, he's falling apart, and she's still holding on to control.
And that shows how they're drifting apart. The murder, which they thought would bring them together, is tearing them apart. They react so differently, it's like they can't even connect anymore.
It's tragic. They got what they wanted, but at what cost?
A question that'll stay with them and us throughout the play. Let's just take a minute to think about what we've talked about. What are the main takeaways from this scene?
For me, it's how different Macbeth and Lady Macbeth react to the murder, and what that says about their fears and motivations. Macbeth's wrecked with guilt and paranoia, while Lady Macbeth tries to stay in control.
I agree. And Shakespeare's use of imagery and symbolism is key. The knocking at the gate, the hand washing, it all builds the tension and shows us their inner turmoil.
Totally. And all this happens in just a few lines. It's amazing how much Shakespeare packs into each scene.
He really was a master. And as the scene goes on, the tension keeps rising, the knocking gets louder. We know Macduff and Lennox are about to find the king.
Can't wait to see how they handle that.
Yeah, that knocking just keeps getting louder and louder. The Macbeths are trapped, no escape. The tension is just like, whoa, like a pressure cooker about to blow.
It's amazing how Shakespeare uses such a simple thing, a knock, to create that feeling.
Yeah.
What do you think it says about the world of the play, about the Macbeth's situation?
I think it shows that idea of fate, like fate versus free will. The knocking is fate coming for them. Doesn't matter what they do. Some things are just going to happen.
It's not just fate knocking, though, right?
That's
It's guilt. It's the consequences coming back to get them.
Oh, yeah. They might have thought they could hide everything, but that knocking is a constant reminder. They can't hide from what they did. It's going to come out, and they'll be held to pay.
What's done in the dark will always come to light. Something like that.
Exactly. And look at how Macbeth reacts to the knocking. He's totally lost it. Whence is that knocking? How isn't it with me? When every noise appalls me.
It's kind of sad to see. He's gone from war hero to a nervous wreck in like no time.
It shows how good Shakespeare is at showing, the damage that sin and ambition can do. Macbeth's a warning. Even the best of us can get corrupted by what we want.
And Lady Macbeth, is she still trying to hold it together?
Oh, she's desperately trying to act like she's in control, but you can see the crack. She says, "My hands are of your color, but I shame to wear a heart so white." She knows she's part of it, but she's still trying to look tough.
Trying to convince herself and Macbeth that they can just wash it all away and pretend it never happened.
But we know that blood's not just a stain, right? It represents their guilt, and that's not going anywhere.
So the scene ends, and you just get this feeling of dread. They've calmed down for now, but we know they're about to find Duncan's body.
Yeah, it's like the quiet before the storm. We've seen the immediate aftermath, the emotional chaos. Now we're waiting for the explosion.
So wrapping up our deep dive into Act 2, Scene 2, what are the key takeaways for our listeners, especially those who might be new to the play, maybe even reading it for school?
I think the contrasts are super important. How Macbeth and Lady Macbeth react so differently, the darkness and light, fate and free will, all those things add so much to understanding the play.
And Shakespeare's language. The images he uses, the blood, the knocking, the ocean turning red, they stick with you.
Absolutely. He wasn't just telling a story. He was a master of language. and he really understood people.
So take your time with it. Enjoy the words, pay attention, and ask questions.
Hmm.
There's a reason people still read this play after hundreds of years. It's a masterpiece. It teaches us about what it means to be human.
And as you keep reading, think about some of the things we've talked about.
Yeah.
How does ambition change people? Can you ever really escape what you've done? What happens when you try to bury your guilt and fear?
Shakespeare doesn't give you easy answers, but he makes you think.
That's what great literature does, right? Makes you think, makes you uncomfortable, stays with you.
And then on that note, we'll leave you with those questions to ponder as we wrap up our deep dive into Act 2, Scene 2 of Macbeth. Until next time, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep diving deep into these amazing worlds that literature opens up for us